Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. Today's a doozy, and I want everyone who's an OG or new to the channel not to miss out on this very unique experience where we're going to go through all things internal alchemy at a much deeper level, understanding the difference between cultivating energy, being aware of energy, having an energy body, or having a much deeper cultivated, refined, fortified energy constitution, which is part of the alchemy practices that we teach. And then what you do with that as you ascend, you're not just transmitting whatever it is that you're cultivating in your physical body from all things. You're tapping into, and we're tapping into, a celestial energy that goes up and beyond all this. This comes back to the sacred rituals that we have been handing down for hundreds of thousands of years within Taoism. And it's an acknowledgement that will come from these very words. And don't miss out. We will actually give you a sample of this celestial heat within this podcast, and you get to infuse your own object, and it will come from this very moment. You'll also be discovering a vortices within your house that'll be realized. And then ultimately at the end, another exercise where we go through experiencing this concentrated, condensed energy in your physicality through the gateway of this celestial realization. So stay tuned throughout the video and enjoy the video. 1 to the 2 to the 9,000 to the power of 81 to the abundance of 72 to the limitless of 18. All is one, one is all. Rippling, oscillating, reverberating, resonating. Welcome to the consciousness of the way. Divine Delectable co-host Jadis. How you doing? Toppity tap top.
We'll take it back. Howdy doody.
Howdy doody. And I am your humble servant and Sifu Taoist Master San Qing. It's happy days are here again. We are another incredible deja vu moment. It just seems to be my life. Oh no, what am I going to do? It's good to be me once again. And that has so many implications that are deep into a resonance that we're going to go over today, because we're going to talk about the celestial heat, the torrid field, not the Taurus field, the torrid field. Understanding where these things are emanating from on a much deeper level. You have the infrastructure of the energy in what most people, until further noted, it's conceptual. So the energetic infrastructure is a huge component for Taoists. It's a huge component for anything that is operating in this 3D reality. And energy is all things, energy, frequency, vibration. And so understanding that you can be a energy person and cultivate. And there's a fundamental difference from what I speak of for Neigong especially, and for other internal alchemy practices, what it takes to actually create the alchemical realization. We're not speaking of just feeling energy and it's transient from, I feel a little bit here, I feel there. I sort of like have these moments, these epiphanies where I'm getting chills or surges of energy, prickling effects. They're all gradients, subtleties, differences that are variable. But the alchemy, the secret source that goes beyond what they talk about, which is the sacred secretion. People sort of, I feel quite, passionate about this particular subject because, Taoist alchemy has been around for thousands and thousands, and then we can go tens and hundreds. Hey, listen, I'll go there and people will go, you can't refute this. Oh, yes, I can. And understanding that when I speak on things, anyone who has a molecule, a little taste of anything energetic will realize that what is coming, emitting from me, transmitting from me, my very spoken word, will be realized and you will feel it. If you're in question, rewind this video and immerse yourself in the incantation and the very moment that the energy emanated from the words that I spoke just a few seconds ago. And that charge. So it's interesting, when you understand these attunements, it comes from a higher source. And, most people have diluted everything down to this spiritual sort of like state where they just go, yeah, it's energy. Yeah, you turn it on. Yeah, it's Kundalini. Yeah. It's the Tai Chi pole. You've activated the energetic body, the secret source, the three treasures within, Taoist practices. We call it the sacred infinite flower, and you evoke the infinite Wuji body. And so this is there are always subsections. So when you go throughout China, you have the fundamental simplified or traditional language that we speak today, which is generally Mandarin, and in a few small pockets of the country, including Taiwan, they resort back to traditional, which is Cantonese, and even those two are, as my dear friend Martin would say, dukkha. They're distorted from a past generational abbreviated version of the language that has gone back consciously, that is on paper that's been transcribed and logged in an annal of like history, the canons that we speak of that date back to 6000 BC. We go way beyond that. But let's just talk about pictographs, talk about oracle bone reading, the things that we use to give ourselves an indication of how the evolution of language within the Chinese culture is generated to the point that we speak simplified Mandarin. So you have these different subsections, these different variables, and people are at this point where, energy's energy. Come on, bruh. I got myself 20 grams of the old mushies, and I'm going down for Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And for all those that don't know that, why don't you trip to another song called White Rabbit and start to understand that there was a cultural acceptance within human history of what we call now, at this present moment, people are calling them psychonauts, right? Where they're consuming large amounts of mind-altering substances to create a psychedelic response, or what people call is awakening their insight into another realm. I think that's really cool, and I don't have any problem with it. Yet there's a dismissal. There's a what I'm speaking of is a celestial connection. I'm not just tapping into the universe and going, help me, universe, my rent's due next week, provide for me, which seems to be a universal woke sort of like, and I'll say it, woke. There is there are cultivational practices that are thousands of years old, and that's why people gravitate to Taoism, because we do have systems that are repeatable, and their evidence is proven in your 3D reality from manifestation, magic, and healing. And so, you know, when we get into the deep understanding of these things, it goes past a, one-day workshop in Reiki energy that gives you a realization of the inner workings. And that's why they always end up on our doorstep, whether you're a psychologist, psychiatrist, a therapist, a healer, an alternative healer, a massage therapist, a Chinese medicine doctor, an acupuncture, a Reiki master, I would say, doctor, medical doctors, functional medicine. Because they're getting bits and pieces. Everyone wants a drive-by. There's nothing wrong with that. Show me. If it's a functioning processes, show me, and I'm cool with that. I love it. It seems to be my observation over decades that people get a taste, a glimpse, and they never follow through because they've sort of been dismissing this ancient practices, where it's steeped in this incredible generational value that comes from the cultivation of it. And when you sit into the groove as if you imagine you're driving down the highway on a rainy day, and all of a sudden you want to stick behind the car in front of you to drive in its very path so that you can break whatever would be perceived as a solid substance on the road, i.e. oil. And in your energetic path, it's an understanding of you can feel the imprinted power from millions of people before you cultivating these very ancient techniques. And that's what you want to gravitate to. Understanding that there's so much more to it than just, it's energy. Okay, I completely agree with you, it's energy. Now, what are you doing with it? In most cases, what I tend to observe is, I don't really do the physical thing. I just help people feel better or aware and find their direction. Okay, that's fine. Great. If you're looking for steeped, celestial, ancestral, repeatable cultivation, then that's why you're listening to this channel right now. Because we are here to share these ancient practices with the world. And they are not to be feared. They are to be valued. And valuing the cultivation practices is how you acquire something that never leaves you. And it's palpable, it's tangible. And people dismiss it, but it's healing at the highest degree. And, if you've got any sort of inkling of a sense of understanding of energy per se, you'll realize that just me speaking right now has created some level of heat within your body. Yeah. That's part of the celestial attunement that I'm speaking of.
Would you say that, that's why, ancient temples or churches that have been around for, hundreds of years are kind of this spiritual museum in a sense, where they encompass that energy and kind of hold on to that energy and have it, even though, it's intangible, or it's tangible, but yet to the visual eye, maybe intangible.
Well, there's degrees where, when you turn on your clairsense, and I just use that category, I consider it another sensory perception. Mine has never left me. I see auras, I see energies, I see entities, I see spirits as palpable as I see jade. and I can point out and isolate where they are, whether it's in front of me, in another part of the house, in another person's place, in the other side of the world, and I can show you the density, the palpable density of the evidence of that entity in that space. And that's just part of the mastery of what we speak of. And so the imprinting is, when you get people, that's why there's a level of chanting and music that is associated with these ancient practices, because it's like a energy, right? So it starts with energy, then it has a vibration, and that vibration is a frequency that is associated with that vibration. And when you match that frequency, you resonate with it. And when you resonate with it, you hold the line. And when I say that, the charge that's going up your spine right now is an indicator of the very truth of what I speak. And so this creates in so many different ways, and what we've observed and we understand from our own measurement, a gamma brainwave that has a frequency that goes beyond your wildest imaginations.
So what would you say is the difference? I think a lot of people kind of blend these two together. When you're feeling energy, you're running your own energy, and the difference between tapping into that ultimate black hole source, universal, whatever you want to call it, highest power, true, oneness energy.
Right. Well, most people get a practice. I think it's very popular right now. Take some psychonauts, or being in the category of a psychonaut, a psychedelic. This is what we speak of, something that is creating a greater understanding of a dense dimension beyond what you consider 3D. And from that experience, you open a gateway. Now, it's temporary. There's very few people that I've observed in my natural born life that will keep that gateway open. It's just a taste. And then you're right back to square one. And if anything, you're in deficiency because you've been shown it, but you really don't know how to get there. And so it's been sort of like a forced event. That's why people drink. That's why people take drugs. They don't want to go inside and create themselves. They want it now. That's okay. You can have it now. But the most important thing is not to spend your time pissing and moaning. Yes, it's my personality. When it's gone. And it's like, well, I had it and it's gone, but I want it back. So you take it again. But it's transitory. It's temporary. And so if you don't know how to do it internally and cultivate it, it's nothing more than an experience that you can chalk up, and that's really great. And that's what most people do with energy. They get this sort of like, I felt the energy. I went to a meditation, a guided meditation, went to a yoga retreat. I did some spiritual life coach that took me out in the mountains in Tibet, and we sung Kumbaya for 5 days straight. And these are all really good things. They all access points of consciousness without question. And then they come back to what they perceive as, their everyday, and it's lost. Never to be seen again. And they, if anything, you get more tortured by the idea that I actually experienced it and I cannot resonate with that in my life on a daily basis. And so this is part of what we speak of. And that's part of the ritual. That's part of the cultivation. That's part of the ancestral access. And so I don't make claim to anything. That you can understand the infrastructure of internal power, internal alchemy, Neigong, which is what we specialize in, is building that infrastructure, is activating it. It goes beyond concept, and you build a little ecosystem that is energetically activated through your thoughts, through your breath, and it never leaves you. And you can contain and condense energy within this system and use it however you choose to. And, just as I pull that energy into my lower dantian, you can feel some type of frequency, rumbling, vibration, because you're now emanating what I speak of, because you're part of the present moment, and I am resonating there and transmitting it into anything and everything that is around me, whether it's the camera, the mic, whatever it is. It's that celestial, tangible frequency from the vibration of the energy that is now resonating there.
So when you're doing that, because you mentioned celestial, is that pulling from your own energy source that you've built up over your cultivation and practice? Is that pulling from the higher source of energy, higher consciousness, higher expansion?
Great question. It's not coming from me. You will, within the Taoist practices, is simple. You build the infrastructure. Have you ever heard the expression, when you build it, they will come? When you understand how it works, where you can condense it, and so there's this connection to this physicality. And like when I do this right now, you feel the heat in your coccyx, you feel the heat in the lower part of your body. And it's like, whoa, how in Tao's name is he doing that? Seafood, what are you doing? Listen, it's part of the interconnection. Now, that's just cultivated energy. We build the infrastructure within the Neigong so that you can now saturate the cells, right? The 50 trillion cells we speak of. That's just like energy cultivation to fortify this physicality. And then there's a higher power. And in many cases, what I've identified with is I access direct source to my teachers, the three pure ones, Latsu, Jade Emperor, highest purity. Yeah. When I speak on these names, you feel it resonate through you and go, holy moly, this is real. 100. And then you look at, okay, so there's like this cultivating energy that you could concentrate, but you must have the infrastructure, or it's transitory. It's like, yeah, I feel it here or there, and I'm getting this, and I could get anyone to feel energy instantly and activate their energy body. Then, I start charging them with the energy, and they're like, oh my goodness, it's crazy. Every time I'm around San Qing, it's just an incredible euphoric moment, and I can't make sense of it. I want to repeat it. I have to be around him. And now you then get a taste that now it's time to build that infrastructure so it becomes realized.
Oh, can I interrupt you for
Yeah.
Jade's analogies?
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of, at least the way you're describing it makes me think of like solar panels or something. Whereas like these people are getting a glimpse, they get in front of the sun, they feel the heat, they get the glimpse, but then that sun doesn't, if the sun goes down, they don't feel it. It's gone. They don't feel it again. And you're saying building all of this up, like the internal alchemy is like a solar panel where you're getting that connection, but then you're holding that charge. You're holding that charge for then when you want to use it to go somewhere else. Or it's also transferring through you, that when it transfers through you, you can shoot it 100 other places or transmit it 100 other places. And that energy will be concentrated and go to, the other person on the screen, a distance healing across the world, your dog in the other side of the house.
Right. And so it's just like this. Once you build the infrastructure, your ability to resonate and hold it becomes easy.
Like you're building the solar panel thing.
Yeah.
So the second it comes in, you have to build the container that holds that charge.
Right. And so if you're just using a basic system, someone goes, I'll teach you Neigong. I've seen it many times, and there's nothing wrong with this sort of starting point. But, when you harness the electric and magnetic, and you're able to merge the two together, and that's the oneness that we speak of. Or, you see people that are practicing, pyrokinesis, telekinesis, things of this nature, clear senses, all the stuff I teach people. There's a level of awareness. So you transmit these brain waves at will, and that seems to just be a validation from a physicality and neuroplasticity level of what you're doing. So we've come to this realization, and that healing brainwave is evoked within our ancient practices. And so when you're in that state, whether through our Teachings 101, or you start your journey using our app, which actually activates your energy centers and aligns them, because those energy centers are contracting and dilating all the time. And if they're obstructed or stagnant, there'll be an excess of deficiency that will make it that you're not flowing, right? Yeah, right? And so there's a regulate. It's like regulating your car. A lot of people get caught up in the purification. This I'm not, not really so interested in, because when you truly obtain a level of consciousness, you are me, I am you, so what are you afraid of? And fear is the first catalyst that removes you truly from obtaining the present moment. And within the construct of a dear friend of mine, Tom Campbell, he would say the large consciousness system is giving you what you want, what you handle. How I say it is, the universe doesn't have a moral compass. Now, when I speak of the present moment, it's realized. Now, do I tune into a higher frequency that happens to be what some scientists might call 0-point scalar waves that are not measurable within any technology on planet Earth, and it's just a state? That's why I talk about we go past the electromagnetic to resonance. Even though everything is electromagnetic, there's a merging of that, and that's what can't be qualified. It's that 0 point that we call between the breath in and the breath out, that you realize as the Wu Ji, the Tao, the mother of all things. And so where do you find that? In the center point of an infinity. If we're talking about sacred symbols, and it just so happens when you activate the sacred infinite flower, your idea of psychonaut experience, I can take anyone beyond their wildest psychonaut experience within some induced external by teaching them these practices. And so your DMT experience goes from 20 minutes it's been forced. And see, this goes right back to the Tao Te Ching, and we always speak on this. When you force something, it holds and then it breaks. Mm-hmm. So when you understand this, you understand that you are attempting to force the natural flow, the flow state, the Wu Ji, the effortless action, and acquire it without the deeper understanding and nature of this. So you get a glimpse, and then it leaves you. And you're forever searching for that until you take another mushroom, ayahuasca, LSD, some type of psychedelic, because they all go in the same category, and you get to see reality for what it is. That's reality. I see it that way. I don't, and it's just through my own cultivation. I'm able to see it. I'm sitting here with you guys, and I'm sampling the universe. I do it quite often. I like that as the backdrop, as if, you change your home screen on your computer, only I'm feeling the energies through my whole physical body as I move through a planet, a constellation, a star, just the very presence of the universe. And that transmutes into your feeling my frequency that's resonating within you. And now I can either be kind of a little bit more absorbed in my own experience, and I'm just experiencing it within this vehicle, or I can open the gateway and let it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just start to, and that chill and that shiver and that vibration is the starting point of a sampling.
Yeah.
So, there's no right or wrong way up the mountain. I need people to understand this, but I also need people to realize that you to develop master these skills, it's about valuing, appreciating what it is that's being shared with you, and you will realize it. But there is a system.
Right.
And so most people, you come across a Taoist master, a Taoist priest. It's a bunch of books, paperwork, stuff that, you get the top 1 percentile that are truly transmitting and resonating and emanating celestial heat. Or you have someone who's book learned. It's the same thing with, Chinese medicine doctors. You get the variable. It's like, oh, I went to an acupuncturist. It didn't work for me. Oh. I went to a massage therapy. Didn't work for me. Went to an alternative healer. Didn't work for me. And you get this often because some people are sinking into it and being able to transmit it. And then majority of people are just reading stuff and not embodying it, not implementing it into their very infrastructure. So it's transitory. They get a little hit, or there's a hit or miss. There's not a knowing that they're embodying what it is that they're training in, experiencing, and then it gets diluted. And then you have that moment. I tried Chinese medicine, it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I tried acupuncture, didn't work. All these are incredibly powerful systems. You just need to find the person or resonate with someone that truly has embodied the infrastructure. These are ancient Taoist practices that are integrated into the Chinese culture, emanating from the very seed of all this stuff, dated back to the Yellow Emperor 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 years ago. And before that, his mentor, the Jade Emperor. And their mentor, the universe, the Tao. And understanding these very things is how you get to obtain an insight, and you start resonating with it. And your guides, your level ups, your consciousness is given to you to acquire this. So, there's a cultivation of energy, which anyone can do, and I think it's very popular that people use respiration. More commonly, the default that most people get caught up in, they call it breath work, which is in fundamentally immediately defeating the very essence of what that is, because they're creating work around it. So the potential is already limited with that very word. The structure of it will be limited. And the practitioner, the person experiencing it, will not even come close to the potential, because they've added that very linguistic to the infrastructure, because everything is energy.
Mm-hmm. And I do think it's been something that has been lost throughout the years, due to the power and the understanding of it. Why you don't hear a whole lot about Taoism is it's purposely been hidden. It's purposely been controlled and limited in the information, because it is, like you said, it is so powerful. It is that secret. And a lot of people, are based in fear and don't want that to come out. They don't want that to be exposed. They don't want people to have that understanding.
Right. And, you can learn, or you can embody and express. And so learning stuff, there are people that are information seekers everywhere. That's humans. Their desire to control others with this notion that they can be more powerful than the next is the very fault, the very distraction that will never give them what they are looking for, because they want to be more powerful than the next, when in reality you are me, I am you. When you tap into that, the universe is all things. The Tao is all things. This is this energy that cannot be qualified, quantified, understood, defined. And that's why, today we're going to go over some exercises, but we're also going to I'm going to ask the audience to go and find themselves an object. I don't really care what it is. Maybe a piece of fruit, an apple, something of that nature. And I'm going to pull in what we call the torrid field, the celestial heat of my teachers, and that's infuse whatever it is, whatever object that you have, and then you can go back to it and go, holy moly, Jafu, seafood, how is that possible? It's the present moment, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, and I'll actually tweak it and change the imprint, change the vibration, change the frequency, and it doesn't go anywhere. Once it's done, and it's life-altering, because now you can come to that object and palpate that energy and create part of your own ritual, your own, insight. But this is what I'm speaking of. Not just feeling, I feel energy. It's like, okay, I'm excited. To truly be able to harness that internal alchemy, there is a processes, an understanding. And you can be the transitory person that feels the energy. I got it through my breath work. I got it through my retreat. I got it through my teacher who read millions of books and got 1,000 certifications and all that kind of good stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you will understand that there is a fundamental difference, because it's transitory. It's not repeatable. It's not beyond this world. And people feel this stuff, and you listen to, like I said, when I'm reading auras, when I'm seeing spirits, it's palpable. And you start to resonate, you start to cultivate through the practices. And there's no exception. You will gain access, but, it'll just be a training. You want it to transfer and translate into this 3D reality so you can experience it, right? You want to be able to validate it. It's not just some concept in your mind.
What do you think is the best way to begin to validate it?
The way. The way 126.
But also just understanding, like you said, that it is a, excuse me, it's a learned skill.
You start to do this stuff is you have your own practices. People do the breath, they do breath work, they do Qigong, they do, Tai Chi, they do yoga, they do other practices. People are downloading all these different types of things. If you don't have, I always contribute it quite simply down to, you can have the most incredible looking vehicle. If you don't have an engine in it, it's not driving. I don't care how aligned you are with the special lotus position and the reeling of the silk, aligning the ligaments, the tendons, all this sort of stuff. This is a distraction. That's the fluff that you can obtain at will. The internal alchemy is the power that you generate inside you that is repeatable, it's palpable, and it turns into its own thing. It's as I talk to you, it's the internal alchemy, it's the internal infrastructure, energetic infrastructure, architecture that is palpated. These energy centers are palpable, but they must be developed. So you start with many different things. If you want to develop it, it has to be accessed through a higher state of consciousness. What better way than to create an exercise that brings this very celestial heat? So as I mentioned, our notion before was to the viewer in the audience go find an object. I don't really care what it is, an apple, whatever it is, and you're going to real time experience the transfer of celestial frequency, and it will literally transmute into your very reality, into the object. And what I like to do is you have it and you feel the weight of it beforehand. So I want you to feel the weight of it beforehand, then put it down on the table in front of you. Just a piece of fruit, an apple, it's probably easier. And so I want you to feel the weight beforehand. Then I want you to put it on the table. And I'm going to give people a few seconds here to go and grab their stuff. And then I'm going to infuse it with this higher frequency that I speak of. And you then can be the judge of what is real and what is not. And it is palpable, because this is what I'm talking about. It's a resonation. This is a celestial. This is beyond the electromagnetic components of your physicality or just generally energy. This is beyond this realm. And this is what we get to. This is an understanding of a level of consciousness. And it comes in the form of my relationship with my teachers that go beyond this realm, go beyond this lifetime, hundreds of lifetimes before this.
And you can do this if you're just listening to, whether you're watching us or you're just hearing it.
Well,
on the audible.
Once I
works.
imprint it into this realm, it's there.
Right.
So when you hear it, you go get the object, go and place it, weight it, feel it in your hand. Then I want you to put it on the table. I'll give you another 10 or 20 seconds to go and get that object.
Mm-hmm.
And it is then infused with this celestial, ancestral juice.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll be able to go back to it. Once I infuse it, you go back to it tomorrow and you'll be like, oh, the aura hasn't gone anywhere. It's palpable because it's been altered. It's from another realm. So there's energy that we all have within our physical bodies. And then when you're harnessing something that is greater than, where you're able to obtain this present moment and affect change, manifestation, magic, healing, that comes from cultivation. And if you cultivate the way that we do, you'll obtain a tangible result that will be related in this 3D reality. So there are variables on all these things, right? And so as you can feel the subtleties, that there's already this palpable sort of state that we're in, because that's just where I am in my own attunement. I think it becomes realized.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, whoa, Jafu, this is not seafood. This is not seafood. This is nuts. You're welcome.
So do they need to, now they have their object and
Right.
they put it, you want them to hold it or put it on the
right
table?
Now the instruction is this. Take your object, feel it, the weight of it in your hand. Then I want you to place it on a table, hands off. Then I'm going to imprint and infuse it with this celestial heat that we speak of, and then you pick it up and you be the deciding factor of what is real and what is not, right? So, you
want a cup or a candle?
No. I mean, I can take this, and you take this because you're experiencing it. I don't need to experience it, so you can feel that.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Feel the weight of it.
Right. You feel the weight of it. Right. Okay. Everyone's got their object. Great. Whatever it is. Okay. You feel that frequency, man. Okay. You don't need to put it down because you're used to it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But now, once everyone, the audience has felt the weight, I want them to place it on the table. And now I will infuse it with the celestial energy. Now pick it up and tell me what you experience. And that's forever imprinted.
Mine, I don't know if it's because mine has a vibration to it.
Well, everything has a vibration.
Yeah, but
it's like, you're holding, I did an extra twisted turn there from my teachers. They just imprinted a little bit more. And so now when you pick the item up, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And what happens is put the item back down and now put your hands back, and you can now palpate the auric field and the energy that's being emitted from that object.
Yeah.
And it's palpable. And then if you use these tuning forks, you can point them towards the center point, what you believe the center of the center of the center of this object. And as you slowly move it towards that, Jade is like trying to hold on to this thing that has a vibratory frequency that is resonating, and she's holding the resonance, and that's why it's like getting to that level. And as you point your fingers towards it, you feel all the subtleties, all the densities, all the variables of that particular energy, vibration, and frequency that's instantaneous. And this, my friends, is from another dimension. Yeah. This is not just, I feel energy and I'm having a good old time. And you're welcome. And so now you have an imprinted, infused celestial object. And it will stay there for as long as I choose it to be. Now, I have no restrictions on that particular imprint or that frequency, that energy. So you will be able to return to it and feel it and use it as a higher state of awareness. But also with that, because I am the creator, the attunement of that, I can also just turn the switch off if choose be. If it's chosen by my teachers that that's the case, then it will be turned off. But at this point, it has altered at a DNA level. That frequency is so strong.
It's like, it feels like trying to like hold a tornado.
Right.
It's
right.
like it's just the tornado is spinning.
Right.
But you're like,
right.
I'm hanging on.
Right.
I'm trying to hold it or contain it.
Right.
But if that like that's the vibration and the intensity is like, it's like trying to hold
right.
a tornado.
Now, one of the skill sets that we develop is being a human dowsing tool. Mm-hmm. And so for many people, what does that mean? Well, people use dowsing forks.
Oh,
there you go.
Oh, man.
Here.
Feel that. I know my hand is like...
And so human dowsing forks are, what people use to find water, currents of energy in the earth. As Taoists, we train in it, and we can find them anywhere. So for the people at home, with their new little goodie, their celestial heat that they've been given from the three pure ones, that you can center point somewhere. And the validation of this, I want you to come back and put your comments, thoughts, and feelings under this very video. It doesn't go anywhere because because of the way I've imprinted it. The direction of that particular frequency, that vibration, that energy, is to get stronger, and it will continually condense itself within that object. And so you will be able to, at any point, with your eyes open, without having to go into some space of kumbaya that some people would consider a meditative space. This is real, right? And so when I do this with my eyes open, it's a stream, a vortices of energy, gold white light that just drops down and infuses instantly into that object, place, person, or thing, creating instant alterations in the very fabric of what you perceive as perfection. And that comes with its own energy, its own frequency, and with that, the vibration that creates the frequency is then the resonance. And that's why when Jade was holding that, she was doing this because it was vibratory through her whole body, and people at home holding their objects would experience a very similar result. And so now you can use your introspective, skeptical sort of sense of knowing by leaving it, putting it down, and coming back and going, it didn't go anywhere. My eyes are open. I'm not in the lotus position with 3 incense calling in my kumbaya guides. That's the power we speak of. This is beyond just the energy we talk about. And it's like energy is everything, and you can cultivate it in a millions of different ways. But if you're looking for celestial, ancestral, access to this higher state of what a scientist, my dear friend Tom Candle, would call the present moment, the 0 point, the scalar energy, the black hole energy that we train in as Taoists, you came to the right place. But it's, and I think people dismiss this ancient practices, and it is ancient, hundreds of thousands of years old within Taoism. And it's for reals. And, this can be transmuted at will, and I do, and that's why you're feeling it. My transmission is just my very voice is altering everything. Mm-hmm. Nothing is the same. Everything is oscillating and vibrating at a higher frequency, and it's resonating at a higher frequency. And what this energy does, if you can't see it or technically feel it, it puts you in these different states where your emotions will just literally come up, just being in the presence of this frequency. And you'll either be elated in love, or you'll be, accusing the very moment being a place, person, or thing is evoking your emotional state, which is my dear friend Martin's dukkha, distortion as we speak on it. And that's what this is about. And so, like anything, that framework can be constructed and deconstructed if I choose to, and maybe as an example in future, we'll show people how quickly I can turn that off.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's all part of it. I could resort it back to the same frequency that it was before it was infused and imprinted with that other state, that other frequency, the celestial.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like,
it's powerful.
and I mean, it not only infused your object, but your whole body is now, it's now, if not attempting to, resonating at that same frequency. So you're feeling the chills, you're feeling the heat, you're feeling the weight through your spine, which we call the Tai Chi pole. This is beyond this world, and that's okay. but we should always be mindful and aware that there's an infinite amount of energy, frequency, and vibration, and that everything has its own vibration, frequency, and resonance, whether it's Jesus Christ, God, Tao, Buddha, universe. They're all unique. They're all unique to that specific frequency vibration. And so the starting point, the stepping stone, is to start walking on that path to your realization. And when you have moments like this, and for all the people at home using me as a human dowsing tool, there is more than, whenever I come across anyone's environment, there's always multiple vortices all over the place of energy sources. But for the user at home, wherever they presently are, if you take your arm, the left-hand side, and find the farthest corner from that point that you're at where you are, there is a Eureka hotspot. And when you find it, because you are tuned, it's never not been there. Now, there are different elements that'll be related to the vortices, depending upon the individual. And, we get, hundreds and thousands of people watch these videos across multiple platforms or listen to. So if you have a question as to what that particular element is, or what that a sacred shape is that is necessary to reconstruct that energy, because sometimes it's turbulent and it's distorted, as always. It's energy coming from the earth, and there are different variables for it. But let's just start with the vortices as present. And you can use your hands as a tuning fork to go, oh, ho, 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 oh, holy moly. and if you choose to, you're not gonna die from it. You can step into the vortices. The ones that I'm witnessing right now for the audience runs about 3 feet in diameter, which is a really large portal. So for anyone at home, if you follow my direction, you will find this portal as a first point. And the variables of how many are unique to individual spaces is variable. But for all intensive purposes right now, you can go to that one, and you can step into it, and it'll feel like you're standing over a fire hydrant. And it hasn't gone anywhere. And, your inquiry will be go and find it, and then if you want to know what element, what shape, what sort of like incantation, what talisman needs to go into that to transmute that to a flow state that can be healing in its properties, call me. Or leave your questions under this very podcast, and we will be more than happy to answer them. And we will be having lives on YouTube very soon. Maybe even tonight, I don't know, tomorrow, whatever. We're going to start doing lives. Not so much on Instagram, but YouTube seems to be a little bit more stable. So, yes, everyone is like, holy moly, wow.
What just happened?
Right. And so that infusing, that imprinting, and whoa. And if you focus on it, for me, when I see it, this golden white light that infuses things and drops in all this celestial heat that pulpates and imprints it forever to be altered within this 3D reality. It's all things. And, it comes from a cultivation. I am, doing many things. I'm allowing, or not allowing, really, I'm not allowing anything. Through Purons are giving me this direct source tuning, like a laser beam. And with that, I also use other mechanisms that are interwoven into the fortification of my energetic body. So I can not only just draw in on this laser beam celestial heat energy, that is the 0 point, that is the scalar energy, the oneness, and instantly imprint an object. I'm also imprinting other things into it using my infrastructure. As you see, when I use the breath, it's a compression because there's other things going on there. If you would like to know, call me. So, the first validation is this really happened. Holy moly, holy crap, this is crazy. As it should be, because that's what our Jade and I's driving force and purpose in this reality is, to create a conscious collective, to contribute to it, which so many people, again, run the mouths of the words of, but are absolutely in no way interested in contributing to the conscious collective. That's okay. We'll pick up the slack. It's all right.
I can help with that. And I do. I think there is we will definitely go into more detail as everybody's just evoking their sense of feeling and energy and the difference between it, and now starting to realize, okay, this is more activated. This is more intense. Wow, this is a different feeling. That's all part of the training, which is very exciting.
Yeah, without question. And so I think we went over a lot. Mm-hmm. And, we are always believers in experiential moments.
Yes.
Or as someone a little bit more in their head, empirical data that will give me a validation of the very present moment. And this is where, I quote Tom Campbell. It's like, physicists are just all theories.
Yes.
And so, man, everyone's got a theory, like everyone's got an Oh, I almost went there. So, that's great. But show me, because these people get so caught up in these theories, yet they could not translate it into their very moment and share it. It's just numbers crunching, theories. This is how it is. This is what it should be. Yet, really, they're experiencing some type of resonance that is validating it for them, or not at all. They're so desensitized to the actual energy, even though they couldn't be breathing without the electromagnetic field running out from their body that's generated from their 50 trillion cells. They're just not at that level of consciousness. That's all, because it's happening all the time. Energy is all things. So your dismissal of it is fine. It's kind of just like the old Empress News clothes. Can you see it or can't you? And it's like, it's happening regardless of your commitment, and it will translate into your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual state. So it'll come in different forms if you're not regulating or tuning this tuning fork to these deeper understandings of all this stuff. It will just come in different forms. You're in a bad mood. You had a horrible day. You've got a massive headache. You've got a heartache. You've got a knee pain. You broke your ankle. You're experiencing one bad luck experience after another.
Mm-hmm.
So once this is realized, all of a sudden things change.
Yeah. It's like when you play a guitar and you have to tune the guitar to the right frequency, or you got that one chord that's like, every time I play the song, it sounds like crap, and it's like, if you're not constantly tuning the stuff in your body, you're using it, you're doing it, it's like, you're just going to send out shit music. And it's going to sound horrible and no one's going to like it. And then you have those people that are, it's beautiful. They play that beautiful melody constantly because they're, just tuning that little frequency to hit the right notes every time.
Yeah. So with that said, any thoughts, feelings, emotions you want to end this podcast with?
I think that experience was so cool.
Yeah, I think we'll close out with just, a quick attunement on the three dantians. Get you to feel some more of that celestial heat. It'll be instantaneous. I literally will be like, bang, and then I want you to just inhale that, and that will be representative of the temperature of your physical body, and you'll feel it from head to toe at a cellular level. You're welcome. So this is a real experience-based sort of thing, which I want you guys to measure your reality in. Not, oh, I had a sound bath, and oh, I got to experience some type of, breathing technique that got me somewhere, but nowhere. I can't hold it. It's cool. I don't know. Maybe. No, this is your experience. This is your reality, and it will be validated by you. So level up, attune yourself so that you can experience it at its most dilated amplitude, so that consciousness is all things. Do you feel me? So with that, I'm going to just, again, amplify the celestial energy. You take a sense, take it away, increase it, and it's already like pulsating on my very breast. I don't have to do much. And you will just receive this new energetic frequency within your cellular structure, and it's yours. And it will forever alter, because it's healing from another world. It's a frequency, a resonance from another world. It's not just electromagnetism. That is a baseline of just life force. That universal state is beyond all things. It's beyond consciousness. There's consciousness, and then there's the next level. That is the operating puppet master to everything. So with this, we're already attuning. Everyone's already buzzing. You're welcome. All I'm going to do is take in 2 or 3 breaths. You don't have to do anything other than experience it. And in the end, I'll get you guys to have one inhale, exhale after I've performed my little ritual, and then you get to embody that and condense it. So without any further ado, and now inhale, exhale, hold it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Oh yeah, like a moth to a flame, like an amber, bright, shine bright like a diamond. Oh yeah. And now that's attuned to your respiration. As you breathe, you will just like ignite that energy, because that's really the spark. So the respiration is attuned to the energy that you've just received, that celestial heat. So if you just bring your attention even to breathing, it's as if you're a cigarette, an amber of a cigarette, because that's in tune within you. And just even if you do shallow breaths, you can feel it's attached to this energy that seems to be oscillating and resonating through your physicality. That's part of it, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. So I want to thank Jade. I want to thank the audience for sharing their time with us today. And I am your humble servant and Sifu Taoist Master San Qing. And I will see you on the next one, guys.